The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron 868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked on to the true nation station WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and say it with the chest that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott, where the P this week stands for.
You know, I didn't really think of anything.
All right.
Like, I legit did not think of anything.
You know what? I have 3 P's.
Okay, but you know what? The P this week is a partnership. You go ahead, man.
Part-time patriotic paradigm.
Lord. Well, what motivated that? This, by the way, we introduce ourselves.
Oh, this is yours truly, DJ Aaron 868. I remind you that culture is my code, alongside my bro with no fro but a lot of flow.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage.
What is the part-time patriotic paradigm is the nation's outcry to all of a sudden the use of the national anthem.
Oh. All right. I can't argue anybody who arguing that.
Yeah, I understand the uproar against it. But I never knew that there was so much what's the word I'm looking for here, boy?
Love, respect, adoration.
No. Protocol experts in Trinidad and Tobago. I did not know that.
You didn't know they were so etiquettical.
Yeah, I did not know that at all. But I do hope that the persons who have to take action against of whatever it is, do so if they have to.
Right.
Right? But I ain't going to get on into that. Anyhow, for those that into cricket, congratulations to Australia on winning the 2023 Cricket World Cup. I guess that is what you see on your hat for cricket.
Well, I would have go with Cardo, but you know what? Sure.
Cricket and Cardo go together well. Just like coffee and Cardo.
And curry and Cardo.
And Cardo. Yeah.
Just
and culture and Cardo.
You realize is a very versatile letter.
Yeah. Before we move on, because we have a very action-packed show for you all today, we have to apologize for not being here with you all last week. And you want me to do that part, Cardo, or you want to take that?
You have at it, man.
All right, and on behalf of the fellow co-workers and all the listeners on WAC 90.1 FM, we want to pass on condolences to your family, Ricardo, right, on the passing of your dad. Yeah, man,
appreciated. And on that note, I want to hang my hat to Pops, Mitch, young boy. You, as I keep hearing and I seen evidence of, you'll be sorely missed. It was good to know that he had such a huge impact on so many people around him. Marbella by way of superior. The fellowship will continue the work, and I want to hang my hat particularly to our community for the way that they've supported us over the past couple days, in some cases weeks and months. And a special big up to Sando boy. Guides made Friday a very, very enjoyable experience, and that's not the type of thing you normally say for a funeral. And then that beer that we take on the way to the car, Aaron, it was beastly cool. What I'm saying is, I saw Sando show up a lot. this week. So I appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sando.
And
ahead.
to your mom's boy, that pillow was something. It was quite a high point.
I still have in the fridge. I have like half a serving left.
Yeah, but my siblings would acknowledge who they have to acknowledge in the capacities that they can. But I appreciate all you. And I want to wipe my foot on the express.
Oh, go! You take mine, boy.
Well, then you do it.
No, you go ahead because I might compound on it.
You know what it is to spend all this time. For years, we've been dedicating at least 2 months out of the year, specifically to men's mental health and men's health. You know what it is, and we intersperse all the other things, right? Normalizing male affection, healthy male affection, brotherhood, fraternity, communication, community, all of these things. And then for International Men's Day, which was actually initiated by a Trini, right? 19 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, we get our newspaper asking if men live up to the responsibilities on the day that's supposed to be dedicated to celebrating those who do, to pointing out the mental health and the men's health issues, the suicide rate, etc. But you know what? Agalema boy France take a kind of WTF moment. How you say it, Aaron?
Our favorite segment, WTF. What the France?
Yeah, let me hear his take on yesterday. Forget Express.
France here with another mental health message on this International Men's Day. International Men's Day is observed every year with the aim of raising issues that affect men. This year's theme is zero male suicides. This is something that's very important to me personally. There are male suicides on both sides of my father's family. Earlier this year, I lost a friend to suicide. And a few years ago, sat in this very car, I almost was a male suicide. So I want you to understand that you are not alone. People are out there who know what you're going through because they're going through it themselves or they went through it. There are also people out there to listen. 220-3636 is Lifeline. That's a resource that I've used myself. There's also 800-COPE, 800-COPE. That is the Ministry of Health's suicide hotline. Use it if you know you need it. There are also people out there to help. www.findcareTT.com is a directory of mental health services in Trinidad and Tobago. Use it if you know you need it. But I want you to understand something else. You have to do the work. You have to help yourself. Use these resources to help yourself. You're worth it. Keep going. Blessings flow.
Well, thank you very much, Franz, as usual, for another excellent contribution. And for the fellas out there, we want to say, I don't think you could say belated International Men's Day greetings. But you know what, fellas? We appreciate you. We appreciate how far we have worked to get to where we are now. And we also appreciate that there's work to do to continue to improve. You know what? I say I would have compounded a bit on the Express thing, but I ain't wasting no time. Because it don't make sense to continue to give attention to negative things. In the living room, we try our best to highlight positivity. And also, when we highlight the negatives, we come with solutions. So instead of focusing on if men live up to their responsibility, let's focus on how can we as men build a positive sense of community around us to ensure that we hold our brothers accountable to live up to that responsibility.
I like
so,
that.
Cardo, I think you had to do the needful here.
Yeah, man, but I just want to correct myself. International Men's Day has been discussed since the 1960s, but it was actually conceptualized and observed in 1999 by Trinidadian Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh, a professor at the University of the West Indies.
Boy, big up UE.
And it is now celebrated in 93 countries. Right, so yeah.
Except the Express. Right.
So I want to introduce to the living room our guest, Dr. Ewell Netter. Dr. Ewell Netter is passionate about serving others. His passion for God's word and his kingdom mandate guides him to creatively use his influence through music, podcasts, books, clothing, and ministry. In 2019, he founded His Insecurities, an organization designed for men to speak freely with other men without judgment that might subconsciously occur with the spouse, girlfriends, and family. It is geared towards destroying strongholds and stereotypes that men should hold in their feelings and just be men. His personal mission statement is to empower others by helping them discover their identity. He's a devoted father and husband who has earned an Associate of Applied Science and Web Design at the Art Institute of Houston, bachelor's and master's in religious studies and theology, and a doctorate in biblical psychology from the Hope Bible Institute. So on that note, we're going to cue Warish to welcome into the living room our special guest for this conversation, Dr. Ewell Netter.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room.
Hey, as we talk in this community thing, the Hugh Wooden Law School Legal Aid Clinic, together with the Assembly of Southern Lawyers and Public Defenders Department, will be hosting a free legal clinic open to all members of the public to provide free legal aid and information on Saturday, 25th November 2023, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the San Fernando North Community Center, St. Vincent Street, San Fernando. Is a free legal clinic on Saturday, 25th November from 10 a.m. Fellas, take the opportunity. Your legal health counts too.
And we are back after that lovely introduction from Warish. Aaron, let me hear the R roll.
Warish.
Right, nice man. I know you're a linguistic expert. And welcoming into the living room for the first time. This is my friend, my brother, my colleague, my brother in faith. And ironically enough, we were actually I guess label mates for a minute. Yeah, so this is Dr. Ewell Netter, and he's here to help us have a conversation about the importance of community and communication, particularly amongst men. So Ewell, welcome to the living room. How you doing?
I'm really good, man. It's an honor to be here. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I see Aaron already hit me the look because I asked the question incorrectly.
Yeah, come on, man. Not because he's your friend means that you're not supposed to ask the question from that genuine place, Ricardo. Because we're not just gonna ask you, where's the scene? Or how you're going? Or what's the gist physicist? What's the word hummingbird? Or
You're trying to find
the next one, but
yeah.
got it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we are asking you, how are you?
Man, that's a really, really good question. I appreciate you asking. Most people don't really ask that question, right? Without giving you my general, I'm fine. Man, I'm really in a good place of peace. And I mean that. There's days of struggling, but just mentally, just from responsibilities and feeling like I have to have the weight of the world on my shoulders at times, right? But quickly I take that off and realize I don't. But it feels that way at times, right? Because I feel like I always have to be on as a man or as a leader in different capacities of my life. And so I'm in a really good place, learning not to condemn myself when I mess up, because I can be a perfectionist, and growing to just embrace freedom and the grace, but also understanding and honoring the responsibilities that I have to maximize every aspect of life, man, and thrive completely. I know I know I threw a lot at you, but that's really where I'm at. That's my real answer.
I love the part about where you said you're not gonna, in a nutshell, be too hard on yourself. Because for me, that's something I struggle with a lot. I hold myself to very high standards. So to hear you say that, to hear not just you, but to hear someone else say, hey, I have to learn not to be so hard on myself. Even though I hold myself to high standards and I want to be a perfectionist, you had to accept at the same time that you're human.
Yeah.
So it's, as they say, it is natural to err. But you just had to do better the next time. And I appreciated that. So you could go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear about this being human thing you'll speak on, and I'm learning how you humans function, and it is admirable. It is admirable. I am still learning to accept and express my humanity, because we do that to ourselves a lot. I think as critical as I can be about things, that is only because I measure myself with a very, very strict rule. So even the idea of grace and words like capacity and that type of thing, I wasn't even applying stuff like that until I met Ewell a couple of years ago. And on that note, because I don't know if people pick up that there's a difference in accent and diction, but you will just, if you could give us a little introduction as to, where you're from, and I would really love to hear your idea of how we met and how you ended up here in the living room with us tonight.
Man, okay. Well, I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am South, so you hear the South draw, you'll hear the y'all. I know that's different from where y'all are located. But I am really the epitome of Southern hospitality, as we say down here. Greet everybody, smile, how you doing? How's family? Even if I don't know you, right? Because it's just that embracing of who we are. It is crazy how I met Ricardo. So me and Ricardo met through this Christian hip hop record label called Rapture Ready Production. Shout out to Rapture Ready. And we just it was really this, I want to say Voltron, right? Like it was a group of talented brothers and sisters coming together in ministry in the form of music, but not just music, different levels of artistic vision, right? So it was poetry, it was rap, CHH, Christian hip hop, it was singing, R&B music, and it was just all of these collections. But with Rapture Radio, it was so advanced and still is, where we need people behind the scenes as well. We need graphic artists. We need people who can hold us accountable. So they also, with the artistry, also had a level of front office, as you can say, like HR, PR, where it was people who were in those places to ensure that we stayed ministry minded and accountable to, hey, you're not just an artist, but you're someone who is displaying an ambassador for Christ Jesus. And so it was a thing of ensuring that we stay accountable, we stayed at peace, we stay level-headed with life. And so Ricardo was placed in one of those roles, right? And so, yeah. And so we really did connect that way. And at the same time, I was creating a small group called His Insecurities, in which it was a community for men to navigate mental health and talk about their thoughts and their processes and how they navigate it. A space where they could be men, where they can not just only have to, can be themselves and not look at themselves as just people you have to produce, and have conversations where they may not feel as if their spouses, partners, family members will understand. And so it began to cultivate this space in which men come together and say, hey, brother, this is what I'm battling. This is what I'm going through. And I just need a place where I can speak. And I don't feel like I have that. I feel like I don't have a voice, right, to be who I truly am. And so we cultivated this space, and then Ricardo does what Ricardo does, man. And he comes into this space and he provides just ounces and oozes of wisdom and biblical knowledge and places it in a way in which brothers just like, yo, I needed to hear that. And so we just been rocking since, man. But it's divine. I was gonna say crazy, but it's really divine how we connected and have been really communicating since, and that's been 2 or 3 years now, man.
Yeah, it was before COVID, and so it's
Before
actually
COVID.
it's
Yeah.
like at least 4 years already. Yeah, I appreciate you, Ewell, because coming out of his insecurities, I actually started gathering brothers around me, because it was weird to me that I was in a men's group in a country I'd never been to, with brothers that I never met, and I didn't have that home. I didn't have that in Trinidad. So it led to me encouraging brothers who were Christ-minded and trying to navigate family issues, parenting, job issues, just this stuff that we go through daily. It was absurd to me that I found this, that the Lord put this in my life outside, and I didn't have it at home. And that, because I didn't have that specific spot at home, it led me to become more community oriented and brotherhood minded. So like with Aaron and I, the living room as a program started shifting direction, because I just had different things to bring to the conversation. And then looking at Aaron become a leader in his own right at work and in his peer group and developing his other careers, it was like, yo, this thing that I got exposed to, I'm exposing other people to, and they carrying it out. And in other spaces as well, I got to see how important community was, because you have 2 code words, and honor and capacity, that since I got exposed to you using them, they have completely changed the way that I deal with things, because I started looking at things from a position of I don't have to, I get to. And now it's an honor to serve as opposed to being obligated to. And then capacity also helped me with some grace, because I realized that the standard that I held myself to might be when I'm at optimal production, optimal contribution, optimal value, but I'm not always in that place. So I had to start looking at what my capacity was. So I thought it would be a great idea to bring, the bearer of good news directly into the living room, so that you never know who might hear this, and you might say something that I wouldn't say or Aaron wouldn't say. And you never know who out of Baton Rouge or his insecurities or even Raptor Ready will hear something out of a conversation that wouldn't have happened otherwise. So thanks for joining us and for sharing some time with us, man.
Honor. It's an honor. There go that word again, right? But it's truly an honor, man. An honor and privilege. Thank y'all for really having me. I'm completely honored.
I never viewed. All right, let me see. Let me catch this properly. So, capacity is something that, for those in technical fields, will look at what percentage a plant operates at for it to be operating at capacity. Very rarely do we ourselves look at the capacity that we operate at. I saw, I think it was a post on Twitter or something of the sort, where someone said that if you feel 40% today and you operated at 40%, you operated at 100%.
Yep.
Yes, you hold yourself high to that 100% every day. But remember, you're not going to be 100% every day. I can't remember which old school artist it was who sang it's not 70-30, not 50-50, but 60-40, but 50-50. I think that was Barry White.
No, I think that was Luther.
No, that wasn't Luther. I could tell you that one for sure.
You know what?
Right.
We will bet. We will bet lunch on that. But you go ahead.
You know what? Put it in the comments. Tell us which one of us was wrong. Right? But really and truly, you really have to appreciate as a man that you're not going to be 100 every day. You might be 60 today, 30 tomorrow, and 75 the day after. Once you show up to the maximum of the capacity that you know you are at, you are doing great. But I must continue to say, being self-aware is extremely important as well. You can't wake up in the morning, know you're feeling 40, but go in and tell people, yeah, Dan, I 100 today, boy. You have to be self-aware to the point of recognizing where you're at and being open enough to say, I am not at my best today, but this is where I'm at and this is what I'm willing, not willing to, this is what I'm able to give.
No, that's
Ewell,
good. That's
I should bring you on more often.
No,
that's-
I honestly, as well, have a lot to say about these kinds of things. And before you continue, Ricardo, I want to give a personal experience. The weekend when I did the 2 jobs back to back with the opening of Carnival in the Savannah and the launch of Panorama.
Yeah.
After I finished at the opening of Carnival, I was actually just really hungry and tired. And you know, the Snickers ads just be like, have a Snickers, and they see a whole totally different person. That was me. And I think at that moment, I had a kind of hungry moment with my girlfriend, right? And it was bad. And she felt bad about it. Only after I had to explain to her that, hey, this is what happened. I was not my best at that moment, and I should not have been short in my answers. So sometimes, if I didn't admit where I was, a situation that could have gotten worse. So fellas, not because you're hungry, not because work's stressing you out, not because your financial position may not be the best and you may not be able to provide everything that you are supposed to or said that you would, means that you need to take that frustration out on your partner. Explain to them what is wrong. So firstly, admit to yourself that something is wrong. Explain to them what is wrong, and then have a further conversation with them about how we can move forward in this situation. I done.
He on fire, man.
Yeah, you had a Snickers.
Actually, no, I had a piece of coconut fudge from Tobago.
All right, bro, show off. You will question. Oh, sorry. I'm taking liberties here. Do I call you Dr. Ewell, Pastor Ewell, or Ewell is fine?
Ewell is always fine, brother. Those others are just roles that I've been honored and privileged with, but it's always Ewell.
Excellent stuff. You know, I just wanted to throw it out there to the public that you are well equipped to speak on the things that we're speaking on. Right? And in your professional capacity, why is community so important to men?
Man, that's a really good question. Community is important to men because you need community to help you grow. That's number one. You need community to help you grow. I know we like to isolate ourselves and think that that we can do it all by ourselves, or we can't trust people, and those things can be attacks to get us to certain levels and get us to certain places. But community is there to help you grow, whether that's in the form of accountability, and that's in the form of relatability, venting, camaraderie. Those things are needed, and they're so they can be underlooked at times, because at times we can, everything's social but not social, if that makes sense. Like, we tend to go to apps and think that those things are really community, but they're not truly. And so because of that, we have this false sense of what community truly is. But community really is needed for us to develop, to grow, to understand what's inside of us that needs to be pulled out or exposed or addressed. Those things are needed. Without that, I would be a shell of myself, because community helped me see the flaws that I had and the challenges I had and the things that I will hold dear. And in capacities, there go their word again, I was able to say, I'm not by myself. I can talk about this. There's someone I can relate to. There's someone who battles this as well. This is someone, there's people who I can hold me accountable now, that I can communicate with, that we can navigate, that I want to be better, they want to be better. So now I can form a community in which helps me grow, develop, become a better man. I mean, it is vital, especially to men. It's to everyone, but especially to men, because we're so natural at feeling as if we can do everything and that we have to provide. And who do you communicate to when you're in a place of being the provider in your mind, right? And other people are looking to you to provide. Who do you communicate to? Who will be the place where you can be like, man, I'm just tired, bro. I'm just tired of providing at this moment. So you need community there to encourage, to back you, accountability, growth, hold you dear, hold you up. All of those things are really, really needed. It's vital. I can't speak enough about community. Here locally at the church I attend to, that I have the privilege of going to, we have a motto which we say, find family, discover purpose, and change the world. The first thing we tell you is you need community. You finding family. And in order, once you find family, you can do those other things. Discover your purpose and change the world. Community helps discover your purpose. Community helps you navigate into change and to walk into the dreams and aspirations that you may have. You need community as well. Biblically, God says 1 put 1,000 to flight, 2 put 10,000. So even community was there, right? Even when he sent the disciples out, he sent them out 2 by 2s. Community was always essential. Even at the start, you go to Genesis. You go to Genesis. Man, it's not good for man to be alone. Right? And so it is implemented in who we are. It's in our DNA to have community. You need someone to help. You need someone to bless. You need someone to encourage. You need someone to love on. I can't be the best me without you. There's something in Ricardo that helps propel me into my next. And a lot of times we don't see community that way.
I struggled for a long time thinking that community was just something to serve, as opposed to something to glean from, to benefit from, to refill and help process me. And it's still so wild to me that once you let go of this idea of I can do it myself, I have to do it myself, I can't trust anyone. Once you start letting go of those ideas and you heal from that trauma of thinking of betrayal and disappointment, that no one is there. Once you could get over that part of it, community starts forming around you. Like just the willingness to give people, humanity, growth a chance. Community starts forming around you. Like I'm hearing people asking at my age, how do I make friends? It's like a literal question that people are asking, how do I make friends at this age? And the answer I would give them is, well, ask yourself right now, what are you doing that you think you don't have friends? I mean, there are people who are alone, but there's also communities around you that are just waiting for you to show up. What are you not answering? What are you holding back? A lot of us have these voices that says, you should really try this, or you haven't done this in a while. And I mean, we have fear and trauma to overcome, but community helps with that.
The thing is, right, as men, sometimes we find community and don't take this the wrong way, fellas. We find community in some of the most superficial things. We find community in the sports teams that we support. We find community in the places we design at. We find community in our car club. #Team Aqua. I'm just saying something there. right?
Mhm.
But when when that fades, what is the community really there for? How much we going and talk about the fact that Manchester United is going through the worst period ever? How much we going and talk about the fact that aqua parts expensive? How much we going and talk about limes at the rum shop? We need to start establishing communities that build us as men up to the point where we are able to discuss things which are true and dear to us.
That's a great lead into the next question, Aaron.
That is,
like-
tend to do that from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, Captain Segway, not bad, sir. But why is it so hard for us to verbalize this to each other as men? Why is it, you go, we will say, let me go and take a beer, instead of saying, bro, you have 5 minutes, I want to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Why is it easier for us to spend 2 hours talking about football than it is to us to spend 10 minutes talking about, listen, today was real hard.
I think there's multiple layers to it. But the one that I identify a lot with when I communicate with brothers is the component of what they think manhood is. And a lot of times, if you were in an environment where men don't show emotions, then of course I wouldn't communicate my emotions to you, because I would be looked at as not being a man at that point, right? And so if I was informed men don't cry, then why would I tell you how I feel? So often what happens is that we are initially informed to remove our emotions. So why would I communicate to you my emotions if I was taught since a child to remove my emotions? So I think that's one of the things that I come in contact with mostly, right? The fact of the matter of we're informing our young men how not to communicate their emotions and how to. So now I can't build a community around something I was taught that's not manly. So we strip that from them. So what do I talk about now? Well, I have to talk about the superficial stuff. And sometimes the superficial stuff allow me to introduce my emotions, right? We see emotions all through football. If you ever had a fanatic watch a game and they're really into it, they may laugh, they may cry, they may yell, they may be angry. They display all of the emotions during that game, not even knowing it, but they do it. However, that is the one that I see the most. Also, I think it's really hard for men to communicate emotions as opposed to a woman might, right? And so a lot of men are told not to be self-aware, so they don't know how to communicate and be self-aware. They are informed, and it's another thing I have to go here is identity. Like a lot of men struggle with identity. And because of their struggle with identity and what they view themselves as, right? And that's not just from a sexual component. I'm talking about producing. Like a lot of men think that my identity is based on the things I do. So I have to produce in order to be. And because of that, because I look at myself from a place of producing, then of course I'm going to go to communities where producing happens, as opposed to how I feel or truly who's my identity outside of the thing I do. And so if my success is only viewed from a place of financially, how I provide, what I drive, what I live at, what I wear, if I'm only seeing my identity through those lenses, then I'm never going to actually tap into a community or speak to what I truly need inside.
Yeah.
Because I see myself from a position of just doing things to show you. So I got to show you. So why I'm talking about my emotions. And then the conflict there is when I don't do and I feel sad, I'm frustrated, I don't even know how to communicate it to you.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating piece there. Because now I don't even know how to communicate based on me identifying with my actions and my doing. I don't even know who I truly am outside of it. We do this in His Insecurities. I know we did this multiple times. We tell brothers, strip away everything that you do. Everything that you do. Who are you? And multiple times, man said, I don't know. If I give you if I tell you strip away everything that you do, your job, how you produce there, family, who are you outside of the things that you do? Who are you outside of the financial status that you are? Who are you? They can't even communicate. They're literally at a standstill because most men don't go that deep with themselves. Who am I?
Yeah.
Are you intelligent? Do you like to walk in the park? Truly inside of you, who are you? I had this one brother who was in our small group, and he was a big brolic brother. Was like, man, I really want to play a flute. But because my whole life I was told that I was big, that I needed to play football, I did something that I truly didn't want to do because of how people identified me. And so my question back was, why don't you try flute now? And he said, I'm scared. The thing that he really wanted to do, he couldn't even do it because of the perception that the world made him be. And he was so afraid to be viewed outside of that perception that he couldn't operate in truly who he truly was. Like, this man could have went to Juilliard, like playing on operas and grand stages. But because he was identified with just his physique, that was his cap, that was his limit.
It's like, you could imagine hearing that Victor Wembanyama is like, he doesn't want to play basketball, you know, but basketball is a thing that he was driven to because of his frame. You can imagine if, you know, he might be a chess grandmaster in the making and we would have no clue.
None.
Yeah, it's like, even this conversation, I'm telling you, there are people who are going to very, very, very quietly after the episode message with feedback. And they will never put it on the wall. They will never put it in the chat box or in the public comments, right? Just because we are afraid of expressing what we're thinking and what we're feeling because of what it would look like to other people, even though it is true to us.
Yeah.
I remember one of the early times Aaron and I was in the station, in the radio station. It had to be like 5.5 years ago, 6 years by now. And I would tell him on air that I love him and we're here to normalize male affection. And it was like, what? You know? And over the course of time, brotherhood developed, and the idea of normalizing male affection is not even an eyebrow-raising thing anymore, because after an incident is when people would say, you know, he should have reached out, or maybe if he had somebody to talk to, or there were warning signs. Like, we see what happens when men don't have these expressive and emotional outlets. But are we providing expressive and emotional outlets?
Right.
You know, so it's like the work now is not just to identify what this issue is, because we've identified the issue. Men act out in anger because it's one of the few emotions that we are allowed. So how do you go about fostering normalcy for brothers to tell each other, yo, you look sharp today, bro, I'm proud of you, you look good, hey, I love you, bro, all the best today? Why? Until a man could feel better about himself with the affirmation of, again, a community. If my brothers see me doing well and tell me I'm doing well, then I don't have to force that idea of performance and productivity. I'd have to project this wellness. I'd have to project these things. I'd have to, try to outshine you so that I feel valuable or look valuable. Like, if we share the value, we wouldn't have to compete for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird to me, I guess, because I have the opportunities and the advantage of these spaces now. Like, it really hurts to see people struggle because they don't have communities, because they don't believe that sometimes they don't deserve them. Sometimes they feel as if people are not going to accept them for who they are, and they don't realize that everyone is struggling with something. And if you don't give yourself some vulnerability, well, how would you know that someone else is struggling with it too? And we can help each other figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, men's mental health is such a challenge because we all have very similar challenges and we all keep them to ourselves. This is like the most commonly held secret across the board. And when you start speaking up or listening, you hear brothers coming out saying things like, man, I didn't know you guys felt like that, or I didn't know that there were other people who were going through this. Like, in Trinidad and Tobago, we had the numbers might reflect differently, but like there was a spate of suicides after one of the major companies, major state-owned company, was shut down because men losing their ability to earn an income didn't just lose the ability to provide, but they didn't know who they were when they weren't working. And Aaron always brings it up, and he's in what I like to call pensive mode right now, when this stuff is marinating. But he always says it's important for men to be able to go and sweat, play some basketball, play some football when the week comes, but it's not just about the physical activity. It's about, there's a community space that we are allowed. Yeah. So it's just man, I'm really hoping that people listening to this, and especially with these lonely months coming up, the October, November, December, people traveling, places slowing down. If you don't have company and family, you feel it in these months. I hope that people realize that if there are a lot of lonely people, company exists. You're just not in touch with who they are.
Yeah.
You're not to pull out a pensive mode. If you do hear your voice for too long, they'll probably unplug the station.
Wow, thanks for that. Now, since the question was asked, if yes, what?
Sorry. No, I realized we had experience with that question, but you didn't get it before. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were sitting pondering that question.
Yeah, boy. And it's a real serious question that I think we all sometimes need to really sit and ask ourselves.
Yeah.
And it really put me in a place just now, like, who am I? And the only thing, like the things I could come up with, I'm a culture lover. I love a good football sweat or any kind of physical activity once it's not swimming. And I just love music. But really and truly, for the men out there, the men who are listening, a way to take some time and really think about it. Who are you? We ask the question, how are you? But we had to start asking men, who are you?
Yeah.
That I don't know, that wow. And then the next thing as well is something that I constantly try to talk to my brethren about, is that as men we should also understand that our value is not just determined by what we financially provide. A man is supposed to be a protector and a provider. And I stress and, not or, and. I know you two gentlemen are familiar with the scripture and could quote Bible verses and stuff like that. So if there's a Bible verse that supports this, now is the time to input it.
No, this is where I'm actively listening.
No, like I'm not actually looking for the Bible verse to support it, like really.
Not that a man's supposed to protect and provide?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not the Bible say that in terms of the way that is being used culturally. It's actually Steve Harvey in the beginning of one of his books where he was talking about the 3 P's of manhood: protect, provide, and produce. Protect, provide, and produce. Yeah.
Right. Well, I stand corrected then.
But as biblically, that's something that we could
Right?
reference.
But I continue to implore men, fellas, not because you're not making the kind of money you was making before means that you are less of a man. Not because you don't have the dust you used to have when a state-owned company was open,
Right.
makes you less of a man. You have to be able to provide emotionally, spiritually, physically. I don't want to bring back financial. But you see the other 3 I just called it?
Yeah, I wanna add a big asterisk on what you're saying, Aaron. And it's a complimentary one, not contradictory.
Thank you.
Fellas, your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend making more money than you does not make you less of a man.
If I could get a standing ovation now, I would.
Yeah, we'll add it in the edit. Yeah, so you'll add a similar video of you with a stand up, rousing round of applause. Right? I'll wait for it.
Yes. Yeah, but you see, thank you very much for that, Ricardo. And that's something that a lot of us men have problems accepting, huh? I don't know why. But let me add to that, and I think this will be kind of contradictory. For the ladies out there in those situations, please do not belittle the man. Don't make it, oh, he making less than me, he's less of a man. You might just be in a better paying field. Or a better paying company.
Yeah, I like that, because we do have to recognize that the way that we are is not in a void. It didn't just happen one morning, right? There are environments that cultivate this type of thing. So if I'm in a relationship where every week I'm being reminded of how poorly I provide and how little of a man I am because of it, well, then that is the way that thing is going to be calibrated.
And so for some men, that will be, well, let me go be the little of a man elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or do whatever it takes to make some money.
Fellas, I think there's a conversation that we need to put a pin in and resume at a later date.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
We are perilously close to the hour of 7 p.m. Yeah.
Yo, well, we're already in the middle, near the end. I guess we're in the middle of the month already. Are you open to coming back to have another conversation with us to go through a little bit more of the men's emotional and social communities?
Yeah, definitely. Just let me know the times and then I'll let you know my availability and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, great stuff. But before I ask for your socials and closing remarks and stuff, Right? And I'm not gonna thank you for being here with us because you're gonna come back, right? We talk often enough to know that this is just part one. Well, bro, you are very transparent, and you taught me the difference between vulnerability and transparency. You're also very vulnerable. What I've learned is that being transparent after the fact is not vulnerability. You know, talking about what I've been through is not vulnerability, right? Talking about what I'm going through is vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
And I could attest to how many people have benefited from your vulnerability. But I will ask you this for the record: how have you seen your sons benefit from the way you approach community and vulnerability?
Man, so I don't know if y'all on social network, right? But I just posted a picture Sunday. I was at church and I was weeping. I was on the ground crying. And my son, my youngest son, I have a 7-year-old. And at that moment, he covered me while I was crying, holding me, caressing me. While I was crying, he was on top of me, making sure he covered me. And so that's just to let you know, that's an example of how very transparent I am with my sons, both of them. I have a 17-year-old and I have a 7-year-old. And it is all the titles you named earlier, right? Doctor, pastor. I'm just dad. I remove that stuff. I don't bring pastor into my home, right? I don't pastor my son. I father my son. Now, I do that as a man of God, but I father both of them. I let them know that they have someone who is there for them wholeheartedly. And we navigate emotions together. And so they see me cry. They see me tell them about pain. They see me tell them about hurt. I don't communicate to them, don't cry. I don't communicate to them not to share your emotions. I'm very open. Now, that doesn't mean that for example, my teenage son, he was still, I'm okay, dad. And then it becomes a conversation. You're not okay, though. And it's okay to say you're not okay. And so it's allowing them to see that men can be men and also communicate their emotions and be transparent, and also allowing them to see, you see me hurt. I need you to see me hurt because I don't want you to think that you won't hurt, or if you do hurt, something's wrong with that. It is essential for your kids to see you in a place in which you can communicate to him, Dad's sad right now. When my father passed, I was very communicative to my sons. Dad's sad. Grandfather passed. I need you to understand it's okay to cry. I need you to understand that it's okay to be sad. I need you to understand it's okay if you need to see a therapist. I need you to understand that manhood doesn't mean that you shy away from your emotions. You communicate your emotions. You let people know where you are. And that's manhood. And so I am very transparent with them and vulnerable with them. They need to see it because a lot of men don't see their fathers being transparent. I never seen my father cry. I never did. I've never seen him cry. I've seen him angry a whole bunch of times because that's usually the default emotion that they allow men to be. He never cried. He never told me he loved me until I told him I love him, because he just didn't know how to communicate those things. And so it was really my decision truly to, and it was really God helping me, allowing me to show them it's okay to be transparent because you need to see you're not perfect. You need to display your emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to allow these emotions to show. It's okay to be hurt and sad. Now let's navigate them properly together.
Yo, listen, And if you want to get in contact, if you want to start to follow Ewell's pages, jump on your Instagram, jump on your Facebook. If you want to catch his podcast, you still podcasting, bro?
I am. I did one, man, last Monday.
Yeah, good. It's Instagram, Ewell Netter.
That's it.
Right. I'll put like the little pictures up so that they could see when they're logging on. And Facebook, Ewell Netter.
Yup.
Right. And what's the name of your podcast?
Don't take wooden nickels.
Don't take wooden nickels. I'm gonna put that picture up too. Right. Well, you will man, I want to thank you for joining us tonight in the living room and for agreeing to come back so we could continue this men's health conversation from a very, very different angle. Hey, big up Baton Rouge, Colin. Hey, Colin, I'm waiting to get my football jersey. Colin, go get signed, right? Get your degree, and then get your franchise player payments, right, bro? We have support from people in the southernmost islands of the Caribbean backing you and waiting to get the autographed jerseys so that we won't sell them in the future on eBay. I'm just saying. Not looking for that. Right. This is Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage on the global stage. Thanking you for joining us in the living room. Remember, guys, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains. So whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. Aaron?
Thank you very much, you, for spending this time with us. And I'm really looking forward to having you back to continue this conversation, all right? I tell you each and every week that culture is my code and that love is the currency, so spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys. Mr. Desmond is up next with the big band. Keep it locked.